What happens when your family kicks you out with just one text message? I did something that shocked everyone, and what came next changed everything forever. Stay with me until the end. Some days start normal and end up turning your whole world upside down. For me, that day was a Thursday morning. The kind of morning where I'm thinking about what cookies to bake and whether my garden needs more water or not. I was sitting on my back porch, drinking orange juice and watching the clouds move across the sky. My phone was next to me showing pictures my grandchildren had drawn for me. One was a rainbow with a happy sun. Another was a picture of our whole family holding hands. I felt warm inside looking at these sweet drawings. Then I got a message from my neighbor asking if I wanted to share some tomatoes from her garden. I smiled and said yes. Everything felt nice and calm and good. My phone made a sound. It was our family chat where we all talked together. Usually this chat makes me happy because we share funny jokes and make plans to see each other. I touched my phone to see what someone wrote. What I saw made me feel cold all over. The word said we need Mom to not come around right now. I read it again because I thought maybe I was seeing it wrong. But no, the words were really there. My daughter-in-law Emma had written them. No smiley faces, no explanation, just those words sitting there like a mean surprise. My brain started racing super fast. Was I in trouble for bringing them soup last week that was too spicy? Or maybe when I suggested their dog needed a bath. I tried to remember everything I had done recently, looking for something I did wrong. But before I could think clearly, something even worse happened. My son, the baby I raised and loved, clicked a little button that means okay. Just okay. Not a heart, not let's talk, just a simple okay click. I stared at my phone feeling confused and sad. Was my family telling me to leave them alone? Were they voting me out like on those TV shows where people get kicked off islands? I held my phone tight, trying to understand. My mind went back to when my son was a little boy. I remembered him running to me when he fell down. I remembered cheering for him at his baseball games. I thought about making cupcakes for his class parties and helping him build science projects late at night. I thought about being there always, not just as his mom, but as his friend too. And then later, as a grandma who never forgot birthdays or dance shows. Now, just like that, one message was telling me to go away. No talk, no explanation, just go away written on my phone. My first feeling was almost like wanting to laugh, but not a happy laugh. The kind you do when something is so strange you can't believe it's happening. I mean, seriously, was I suddenly the bad guy in my own family? Did I miss some meeting where everyone decided I was the problem? I looked around my porch half thinking someone would jump out and say this was all a joke. But it wasn't a joke. It was just me, my phone, and those hurtful words. As time went by, the shock turned into a heavy feeling in my chest. I wanted to call my son and ask what was happening, or maybe write a long message telling them how I felt. But something made me stop. Maybe I was too proud. Maybe I was too hurt. Or maybe I knew that sometimes doing nothing is actually the best thing to do. I put my phone down and looked at the sky, watching birds fly from tree to tree. I wondered if birds ever had family problems, or if they just worried about finding food. I kept thinking about the message over and over, trying to find a secret meaning. Was this about me being too close? Was I always there too much, helping too much, caring too much? Or was this about something completely different that I couldn't see? I thought about all the times I tried to help, to give advice, to be there for my son and his family. Did I cross a line I didn't know was there? Or was this just stress, a big misunderstanding that got out of control? As the sun got lower and made long shadows on my porch, I felt a big wave of sadness hit me. I already missed my family so much. The laughing, the noise, the feeling of belonging. I missed being part of their everyday life, even if it was just through phone messages. But most of all, I missed feeling needed, feeling loved, feeling like I was part of something important. I took a big breath, wiped a tear from my face, and told myself that families are messy and complicated and sometimes really confusing. But they can also fix problems and get better. Maybe this was just a bump in the road, a small mix-up that would go away soon. Or maybe this was the start of something new, a chance to set rules about how we treat each other. Either way, I knew something for sure. I wasn't going to let one okay click make me feel worthless. Not today, not ever. And as I picked up my phone again, ready to write back something that showed I was strong but still kind, I knew that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stand up for yourself and wait to see what happens next. After the shock wore off, I sat on my porch staring at my phone. I felt hurt and confused, and if I'm being honest, a little bit mad too. I mean, really, after everything I'd done for them, this was how they wanted to treat me? I could have cried. Yes, I could have called my best friend and told her everything, or written a long, sad letter about feeling unappreciated. But something inside me changed. Maybe it was all those years of staying quiet. Or maybe I just realized that sometimes you need to remind people who's been helping them all along, in every single way. So I took a deep breath, sat up straight, and decided to be brave and calm and maybe a tiny bit dramatic. I typed my answer, my fingers moving fast across the phone with confidence I hadn't felt in forever. I understand. I'll stay away and also stop paying for your car and the $2,000 I send every month. I pressed send. For a second, everything seemed frozen. There it was, my own powerful comeback, sitting in the family chat for everyone to read. If there was a prize for the best comebacks from moms, I would win first place with a shiny medal around my neck. I could almost hear other mothers and grandmas everywhere clapping for me. It was a moment of pure happiness and satisfaction. But here's the thing. Sometimes you have to remind people where help really comes from. You know what I mean? Who do they think sets up their internet or makes sure they have food in the house? Who was there to watch the kids whenever they needed help or to send money when things got hard? It's funny how fast people forget the small things, the quiet ways you show up for them every single day, every single year. Have you ever had to teach your family to say thank you and appreciate you? Because wow, that was my big moment. I wasn't angry, not really. I was just tired. Tired of being invisible. The one everyone expects to give and give without asking for anything back. So I decided to let my message speak for me. No crying, no drama, just a simple reminder that respect goes both ways. As soon as I sent that message, I felt surprisingly calm. It was like I'd finally drawn a line, set a rule that should have been there long ago. I put my phone down and continued my day, making myself hot chocolate and opening a book I'd been wanting to read. For the first time in forever, I felt peaceful knowing I'd stood up for myself without getting angry. But the story didn't end there. Oh no, not even close. Because if there's one thing I know about family, it's that they notice real fast when money stops coming. I could picture my son and daughter-in-law reading my message, their eyes getting wide as they realized what I was saying. I imagined Emma, my daughter-in-law, holding her phone tight, her mind thinking about all the bills they had to pay, realizing just how much that money I sent every month really helped them. And my son probably wondering how he would pay for the car now. It almost made me laugh out loud. But underneath the funny part, there was something deeper, a lesson I hoped they would finally learn. I wasn't trying to punish them or use money to control them. I just wanted them to see me, really see me, as more than just a person who gives money or watches their kids. I wanted them to remember that family is about giving and taking, about respect and saying thank you, not just about what you can get from someone. I thought about all the times I put their needs before mine, all the things I gave up without asking for anything back. And I realized, maybe for the first time ever, that it was okay to expect a little gratitude, a little kindness in return. As the day went on, I found myself smiling, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. Maybe it was the hot chocolate, or maybe it was finally speaking my truth. Either way, I knew I'd done the right thing. I looked at my phone expecting lots of messages, but the group chat was completely quiet. No sorry messages, no explanations, just empty silence where my family used to talk. And you know what? That was okay with me. Sometimes quiet says more than words. I went to sleep that night feeling strong, knowing I'd finally stood up for myself. I didn't know what would happen tomorrow or how my family would react. But I knew one thing for certain. I wasn't going to let anyone make me feel small. Not anymore. And as I fell asleep, I couldn't help but wonder. Had I finally taught them the lesson they needed? Or was this just the beginning of something new in our family? Either way, I was ready. Because sometimes the best way to show people your worth is to step back and let them see the difference. I don't know if you've ever seen the sudden panic that happens when people realize help might stop coming. But let me tell you, it's really something to see. Even if you're just watching it happen through your phone screen. That night, after my powerful message in the family chat, I got ready for what I thought would be a quiet evening. I made myself some warm milk, put on my comfy socks, and even started coloring in a new coloring book on the kitchen table. I was feeling good about myself, honestly proud for finally speaking up and setting boundaries. But as the sun went down and the house got dark, my phone started ringing. First, it was just one call from my son. I looked at the screen, saw his name, and let it ring without answering. I figured he could worry for a bit. After all, I'd been worrying all day. But then, not even 5 minutes later, another call came. This time it was Emma, my daughter-in-law. I could almost feel the panic through the phone. I let that one go to voicemail too. I know maybe it sounds a little mean, but after years of always being the one to fix things, to always answer right away, I decided it was time to let them worry just a little bit. And honestly, it felt kind of good. But the calls kept coming. Oh my goodness. My phone lit up like fireworks on the 4th of July. Call after call, text after text, messages popping up so fast I couldn't even count them. Mom, can we please talk? Mom, this is all a big mistake. Grandma, are you upset with us? Even my grandchildren, who usually only call when they want ice cream or a new toy, were suddenly desperate to reach me. I had to laugh. Isn't it interesting how fast people remember your phone number when money is involved? For months, I'd been quietly working behind the scenes, making sure bills got paid, making sure they had what they needed. But the moment I said I might stop, I became the most important person in their world. I'll admit I enjoyed it a tiny bit. I let the calls go to voicemail, one after another, just for a few hours. Don't be mad at me. You would do the same thing. I even turned my phone completely silent for a while and enjoyed the peace, knowing that for once, they were the ones feeling worried and unsure. As the night continued, the messages started to change. At first they were all trying to fix things quickly. Mom, please call us. We didn't mean it that way. Let's talk about this. But as the hours passed and I still hadn't answered, they got more worried. My son's messages got longer and more sorry. Emma sent lots of heart pictures, followed by a really long message about how stressed she'd been, how she didn't mean to hurt me, how much they all loved and appreciated me. Even the grandkids sent me little voice messages. Grandma, we miss you so much. Grandma, are you coming to visit tomorrow? It almost made me want to give in. Almost. But I stayed strong, reminding myself that this was about more than one message or one misunderstanding. This was about respect, about being seen and valued for everything I do, not just when it's easy for them, but all the time. I spent the rest of the evening thinking about how easy it is for families to get stuck in patterns, to take each other for granted without even knowing it. I thought about all the times I dropped everything to help, all the times I'd put what they needed ahead of what I needed, all the little ways I'd been there for them every single day. And I realized that maybe this was the wake-up call they needed. Maybe it was time for them to see what life would look like without me quietly holding everything together. I wasn't angry anymore, just hopeful that this shakeup would make things better, more honest and fair. Finally, as the night got late and the calls slowed down, I decided to listen to some of the voice messages. My son's voice sounded really worried, his words coming out fast as he tried to explain, to say sorry, to make things right. Emma's message was quieter, more emotional, full of regret and promises to be better. And the grandkids, well, their messages were just pure sweetness, little reminders of why I deal with all the confusion in the first place. I smiled, my heart getting softer, but I still didn't call back. Not yet. I wanted them to sit with their feelings a little longer, to really understand how their words and actions affected me. As I got into bed that night, my phone still buzzing on the table next to me, I felt peaceful in a way I hadn't felt in a long time. I knew tomorrow would bring conversations, apologies, maybe even some tears. But for now, I was happy to let them miss me, to let them realize just how much I do for them and how much they truly need me. Not just for the money or the help, but for the love and support that only a mother and grandmother can give. And as I drifted off to sleep, I couldn't help but smile, knowing that sometimes the best way to teach a lesson is to step back and let the silence speak. The next morning, after a night of letting my phone buzz like crazy and giving everyone time to think about things, I decided it was time to talk. I made myself a strong cup of coffee, not the weak kind, this was serious business, and sat down at the kitchen table ready to finally answer. We set up a video call because these days nothing says family meeting like everyone's faces on a screen with someone always asking, "Can you hear me?" My son looked embarrassed, his hair messy. And Emma, my daughter-in-law, looked like she'd been up all night thinking about what to say. The grandkids kept popping up on the screen, waving and making funny faces, not knowing about all the grown-up drama happening. I took a deep breath, wanting to be honest but loving, and started talking. So I said, "I think we need to talk about what happened." There was a long, quiet moment, one of those heavy silences where you can almost hear everyone thinking. Emma spoke first, her voice shaking a little. She said she'd been overwhelmed, trying to handle work, the kids, and everything else life threw at her. She said she never meant to hurt me, that her message was more about needing a break than pushing me away. My son admitted he hadn't really thought about what clicking OK meant. He just wanted everyone to stop arguing and didn't realize how it would make me feel. I listened, nodding my head, letting them say everything they needed to say. And when it was my turn, I told them the truth. I just wanted a little respect, a little thank you for all the ways I try to help, not just with money, but with my time and love too. I told them how that message made me feel, like I was being pushed out of my own family, like all the years of love and support suddenly didn't matter. I didn't yell. I didn't cry, though my voice did shake a bit. But I made sure they understood that I wasn't just a bank or a babysitter. I was their mother, their mother-in-law, their grandma, and I deserved to be treated with kindness. What happened next surprised me. Instead of more excuses, there was real understanding. We laughed a little because if you can't laugh at family drama, what can you laugh at? And we cried a little too. Emma apologized again, this time with tears running down her face. And my son promised to think more carefully about things in the future. We talked about boundaries, about how it's okay to need space, but it's not okay to make someone feel unwanted. We agreed that the family chat was for love, for sharing good news and silly pictures and sometimes recipes, not for pushing people away or being mean. I told them I'd keep helping with the car, because that's what family does. But I also made it very clear that my support wasn't something to just expect without saying thank you. We made a new rule. If anyone has a problem, we talk about it face to face, or at least voice to voice. No more confusing texts or simple okay clicks. And you know what? It felt really good. It felt like we'd finally cleared the air, like we were all on the same team again. After the call, I sat back and let out a long, slow breath. It wasn't perfect. No family ever is. But it was real. We'd faced the hard stuff together, and we'd come out stronger, smarter, and maybe even closer. I realized that sometimes you have to let things fall apart a little before you can put them back together in a way that works for everyone. I thought about all the women I know, friends, sisters, neighbors, who've had to remind their families who's really helping them, or who have been the peacemakers, the glue holding everyone together when things get messy. I thought about how easy it is to feel invisible, to feel like all your hard work and love goes unnoticed, and how important it is to stand up for yourself even when it's scary. And I thought about how grateful I was for the chance to have that conversation, to say what needed saying and to hear what my family needed too. So let me ask you, have you ever had to remind your family who's really helping them? Or maybe you've been the peacemaker, the one who fixes problems and keeps everyone connected. I'd love to hear your story. Drop a comment below and let's share some wisdom, some laughter, and maybe even some tears. Because at the end of the day, family isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, speaking your truth, and loving each other through the mess. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to Jamal's Revenge for more real-life tales, laughs, and lots of heart. After all, we're all in this together. And sometimes a little family talk is exactly what we need.